And if you would, please, Dawn, will you just let Sharon know we're having a late start, so not to worry also, okay?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, here we are. Yay. All right. So welcome to Thursday class. What is today? The 14th of December. We're all up in the holidays, right? Holiday mode. You've been traveling to see your beloved, Bob, probably for the holidays. And we've, yeah.
No, I'm staying here this year.
Yeah, but you were just traveling there, I think. So
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
we got Dawn back. Sharon will be here soon. And whoever's on the recording. Hello, Lisa. And there's some others I was reconnecting with at my event last week who are interested. I need to get them through the Empowered program so they have the basics down. But probably within the first quarter of next year, for sure, we'll have some new people joining us, which will be super fun. So look, this is really great when something comes up with one of us, and especially when you give me a moment, advance notice. If I can make a shift, I will. So thank you for doing that, Bob. Like Bob's hurt his hand. Sometimes that means lunge is out for him for a little while, and so what's the workaround? And I want you guys to be thinking along these terms. What's the workaround? I'm traveling. What's the workaround? I was telling you guys this summer or the end of the summer, kind of into the fall, like I was having some issues with my low spine that I'd never had before, right? And so there's some poses I just wasn't going to do at the moment because my back was going to give out, right? It needed to work around some things, continue the process of release, but in a different way, coming in different ways. Okay. So, know that that's going to happen for you. All right. So we're going to do, I've worked it in our plan now so that we can get rid of that one so I don't get confused. So we can do the lunge workaround often. And look, you'll see if you're on the recording or not, sometimes if, please lean into this because maybe it'll be you who needs to work around one day. Okay. I substitute Dhanu Leg for lunge. And so Dhanu Leg is the one where we're on the belly and we have our ankle around a roll. Okay. And we'll get into more details of that. We've been working through, have you been doing the replays and stuff, Bob? So I know, take a temperature.
A couple, not all of them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So have you been doing Virasana? So the seated pose with the seated side stretch?
No, I haven't done that one very much. I'm not.
Okay, but a little.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, just seeing where we are. So you'll catch on fast on, I get a feeling. Okay, but this is a place where we might need to look around the room and see, oh, I need to put all these blankets under my butt right now. So what can I use for under my knee? Like what can I grab? Again, finding our workarounds to create the result. We're not going to let things stop us, unless we need it. There's the time and place where each one of you needs to advocate for yourself in your big, powerful no. Okay. And then there's the place where, I get to influence you to move through it. You are the only one that knows that the difference between those two things. You must advocate for yourself, though. Okay. I cannot take that responsibility for anything that you guys are, hurt and stuff. Right. So this is where like the retreat's that's gonna come up next year is gonna be great because when I'm in person with you, I know I'm more likely to step back from it in this setting than when I'm with you in person, where I'd be like, I think you can do that and I can see how to help you tweak yourself, right? To move through it or just be there to coach you through a process. If we do hit that, I'm not sure point. I'm not sure. And maybe it's a no, right? So there's all that range of gray. And I know this doesn't come up that often, but I always like to repeat it here and there because it's important. And I've had, we've all run into things in our life and or business where you're like, gosh, I should do that differently, and I've had that space with clients before where I needed to remind this topic. Okay. So, and look, there's always new people, maybe somewhere on the recording who get to hear it too. All right. So what we've been working on, just to catch you up, if you've been in and out of recordings or rejoining us, is we've been working on surrender. Okay. And there's a pose called ragdoll. You can imagine what it looks like, right? Ooh, slumped over, right? And ragdoll is, oh, it's such a powerful tool for learning to soften through pain, discomfort, right? Maybe you can learn that no is actually, all right, it's a maybe, but I got to be soft and gentle here through it, right? This is a great pose to teach this lesson. So, can we soften into a pose? You've heard me say that before. This pose really elicits that, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Jennifer? You've been doing it with me the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been helpful. Like while I do it, when I do it the first time, it's like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable. The second time we do it in the same class, it feels better and better.
Yeah. And that elicits the power of what you can do, the possibility once you release the tension in your spine, right? And then your home practice kicks in, where that repetitive releasing teaches the body where it can go. You're learning, this is like a massive practice of embodiment. Just if I can talk about what you said yesterday for a second, Dawn, in our 9190 check-in, that place of noticing what's going on. Awareness is the genius key that speaks to everything in life. And look, you're practicing it inside of this, inside of your body, and no one can take that away. You know what you know when you have the experience, right? Apply this towards the other pieces and places of your life. Okay? Yeah, let's do it. Okay? This is not just on the floor in my body. We're creating new worlds from the inside out here. Yeah, it's really that big. Okay, because it changes your energy. And when people say, become the thing that you wish to, receive or whatever, like you got to hit the frequency of that. And it's like, well, how do you do that? That's been the big question all my life. And, between this and what I'm learning with Dr. T, more on the mental side, the pieces are coming together how to do that. Okay, it's the work in the body, in the mind. The mind body is the experience we're having here.
It's
Right.
like you've had the shoes on, Dorothy's shoes on the whole time.
Yeah. Yep. All of us
Yes.
tapping into the inside for it. Okay. Where we've been told not to look. Now, I know a lot of us are practicing that. Like you're here for a reason, right? You've already been practicing that in different ways. And let's bring it to the body now, right? With this practice. So, because you cannot, like literally what I just came back from in creation, he took me through some mental aspects of the health, the failures, the successes. Like we hear that. It's all leading us to this grand place. But it was a completely different thing to let my inner child experience the truth of it. It's not up here anymore. It's here. Okay. So, okay, with that, let's get started. Okay, so come onto your backs. Getting settled in for Shavasana. Getting my timer going, guys. Give me a second here. All right. And so let yourself connect on the inside like this Take this Shavasana sometimes is the most challenging pose because we're not used to going in there. It's almost like we're scared of our own power on the inside sometimes, right? But go there. Be in relationship with yourself in the body. Even take a moment to give yourself a little extra love and loving recognition. And if you feel calmed, you can tell your body, I'm going to be with you now. You're my highest priority, all my focus for this practice today. And if my mind drifts off, that's okay. You'll remind me and I'll come on back. What if the only thing pain and discomfort and tension was telling you is pay attention to me. Listen to me. I'm telling you something's off, too far off right now. That's all it is a message. The body's way of communicating. As you notice your toes and feet, your ankles and legs, all the way up to your hips and hip joints. Into and through your whole pelvis, belly, and chest. And then coming down your arms into your hands, noticing your fingers and thumbs, hands, wrists, arms, and shoulders. And bringing the awareness to the back of your body, noticing how the back of your body is laying into the floor, the parts that are touching, the parts that are not touching, including down through your hips, buttocks, sacrum, and tailbone. And taking the awareness from your torso through your shoulders into your neck, face, and head. Being aware of your whole body, outside, inside, all at the same time. Allowing Shavasana to have an effect on your body, your mind, and more. And bring your awareness to your breath. Again, or still. Notice how your breath moves through your throat. And begin to narrow a few inner throat muscles ever so gently and slightly. It's not a big movement. It's just a slight pulling in without any straining or forcing. And you'll hear the sound of your breath. Your inner ear will pick up that sound more easily in this Ujjayi practice. So listen, just listen to the sound of your own breath as it moves in, as it moves out. This sound that's always happening quietly on the inside, even when you're not listening. It's the most healing sound there is. Slowing down your breath so the sound becomes quieter, more internal. Smoothing out the flow of your breath so the sound is smooth and steady. The same steady sound from the beginning, through the middle, all the way to the end. The same sound on your exhale as your inhale, and your inhale as your exhale. One or two more Ujjayi breaths. And then you can let your inner throat muscles soften. Your natural, easy breathing pattern to resume. And then just observe yourself. Here's this embodiment piece, right? Just noticing what you notice about what's maybe changed since you first laid down, or you know, from the result of your Ujjayi practice. You might notice a different breathing pattern of some sort, or the way your body, remember when we went through the back of the body, right? How it was laying on the floor. Maybe it's laying on the floor differently now. Sometimes what happens is you start to decompress already and your body lengthens, and you notice that because your head's heavy and your spine lengthened, your chin starts to tilt up a little bit because it needs more space. So then you could just tuck your chin in, lift and lengthen your head back down on the floor. Give yourself that space so you don't crunch in your neck once your spine lengthens. And if you're not noticing that now, you may, just me talking about it, you may notice that in the future. Okay, so bring your knees up to your chest. Hold your knees and roll over. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and press up. We're gonna take the blankets and fold them into folds. Okay, we're making a seated platform of 3 blankets. So sometimes people don't need fewer blankets. I see I have that fuzzy stuff on in the background, so hold on, let me see if I can, whoops. And make sure you can see me clearly. Oops, I hope I remember how to do this. Is that, Sharon, is that in video settings? You might know. Always show video.
Yeah, video settings, and then choose your virtual background.
Where is that though? I went to the video settings. What's it under?
Oh, when you have the stuff,
Background and effects. Okay,
yes.
none. Okay, let's hit none. It didn't do anything.
Hmm.
I just noticed that my blankets were a little fuzzy and I went, I don't want you to.
Yeah, it does look like your background is blurred, but if you already chose none, that should work.
Yeah, I have none. Virtual backgrounds, let's see, none. Yeah, I still have none.
Wonder if your camera is doing something weird. Maybe if you walked back towards it, it'll try to focus on you as you're going back
It's
towards.
not, I noticed the blanket is only focusing on me. Also video filters, that's on none, avatars. Yeah. Okay, so general, show, video, touch up my appearance, adjust for low light. Oh. Okay, so I guess I'm not going to spend too much time on this.
Are you turning the blur on and off to see if it's
It's highlighted. It says the blur, I turned the blur off, but even when I go to it, it shows none, but it's still blurring. So
yeah.
I get, maybe it needs to happen on the next video or something, so.
But yeah,
Okay.
but you should be able to change whatever during the video, so that's
I
wild.
agree. So, but at this point, I'm just gonna keep us going, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sorry if this is a little blurry, but you can basically see what I'm doing, and I'm verbalizing it as well, that we're doing 3. Okay, 3 folds. All right, now, some people can go further down, but since we're new to this pose, I'm just kind of assuming that we all need 3 right now, okay? But just know, on ragdoll, if you can sit at the top here and say you want to try to do 2 or 1, and you can sit with your legs straight out in front and you feel comfortable, meaning you're not slouching and you're not holding yourself up, right? If you could just simply sit, then you can go down. So you can always test this along the way, that whether you can, have the ability to be able to go down or not. Okay. All right. So you were just sitting towards the front so that the thighs aren't supported down the leg a lot, right? Just the top of the thighs. And the legs are straight out in front, heels are next to each other. Okay. And so it's important. We're going to go down easy with the breath, and we're going to come up with the arms, right, for support. And I'll describe that as we go, but the dismount here is going to be important. We're not going to just pop up, okay? Just kind of forewarning you a little bit. All right, with your hands on your legs, palm up, you're gonna let your head tip forward. And it's just your head. Be mindful, it's just the neck bones, right? So you can even use your upper back muscles if you need to, like between your shoulder blades to keep your shoulders back. And we do pause here for 2 or 3 breaths because we're so used to holding your head up. The body needs time to adjust and really let the head hang sometimes. Okay, from here forward, every breath you take, you're just going to let a few more vertebrae slouch over. Each exhale, slumping the shoulders, letting them round, and then allowing a few more vertebrae to round over. Each successive exhalation, allow a few more vertebrae and ribs to slump forward until you've slumped as far forward as your torso goes at the moment. And if it's possible, you could then, as you exhale, tip forward from your hips. If it's not possible, that's okay. So at this point, your hands could be either on your legs or on the floor if you choose, palms up. Your elbows are in by your side. And you're just allowing your back to soften around over as you let your head hang. And your whole body begins to soften into the ankle. If your hamstrings are super tight, you can make a roll, like a widthwise roll, and slide it underneath your hamstrings, only till the material touches. It's not a support lifting your legs up at all, okay? But just know your hamstring tension is caused by your spine, okay? And it'll change as we do the work. Okay, so turn your hands over. And now do not press up all at once. You're going to put a little pressure in your hands. That starts to tilt your sacrum up. And then your lumbar vertebrae start stacking one at a time. Okay, and each successive, it is a slow roll up, okay? So it's very mindful, slow, one vertebrae stacking on top of the other. Your head is still hanging. The head does not come up till we get to those vertebrae, okay? So your upper thoracic is coming up. Eventually, you can't go up any further without tilting back, right? So you don't want to tilt back, but just then start to let your neck vertebrae stack one on top of the other, on top of the other. Okay, so that is the marker pose. So notice what you noticed, to kind of make a mental note now, what that was like, okay? The stacking, the hamstrings, the ability, how far you went down, all the things. Okay, so this next one I'm going to demonstrate because once we get started, the timing of this, I can't stop to answer questions on this one. The flow of it is very important, and the timing. I'm going to ask you to change. I'm literally going to be tracking your timing, and we move when I say move, okay? Because well, I won't get into the because today, all right? But just know it's important. So I want to show it to you first so you see where we're going, all right? And you can just listen to the words and move through the steps. Okay, so there's 4 stages. The timing is important because 2 of the stages, and am I clear? Do I look fuzzy?
You're clear, but I was also wondering if I see you're recording Zoom, but I don't know if you're recording YouTube.
I am.
Okay.
Thanks. So the amount of time we stay in any particular stage determines the reliability of the release. Sometimes we're doing something to see if we can move in that direction. Sometimes we're doing it for a specific release. This pose can hit tailbone and sacrum at the same time. I don't want to do both. I want to do just tailbone. So when I say shift, okay? So it's not too deep. I'm trying to prevent relapse situation for us, okay? We don't want to do both right now. All right, so the first stage is, first of all, you see my feet are pretty close to my stack. And I'm staying in the same position. Like, you know, when we sit and do seated side stretch and things, we sit back. Here we're still sitting forward. Okay? Because we don't want the stack to push our thighs up when we go put our legs out. Okay? Same as ragdoll. All right, so the setup for the first stage is I'm going to use my arms, right? We use arms, abs, and legs to create movement so the spine is soft. So I use my hands to literally kind of lift my torso up. And look, I've got a connection of my chest and torso on my thighs. This is kind of like lunge, right? You know how in lunge we create this connection as best we can, and we keep that. We're going to do that here too. All right, so just watch for now, Bob, okay? And
Okay.
look, if this is what we're getting ready to do is hard for you, if you can't get your hands underneath your toes, this is where you'll get a strap. Put the strap underneath your toes, and you're going to use the strap to do what I'm going to do with the hands right now. Okay, so I lift and lengthen my rib cage on top of my thighs. I'm going to take my fingers underneath my feet. It could literally be all I can do is get my fingertips, or it could go all the way up to my wrist. Okay. And look, I'm just bringing my heels forward just a little bit. So I'm at this point, I'm going to come forward a little just so I can get my hands under. Okay. All right. So my head comes down, and then I'm going to use my arms to bring my feet up. Look, it's not a big movement. If you saw, I'm literally hovering over the floor about a centimeter or an inch. All right, but my arms this is really going to test you to use your arms. All right. Some people might only be able to get, like, you know, fingers and toes up. All right, but whatever it is for you, it's fine. So if my knees, if when I do this, if my knees are splaying, I'm going to use my arms to keep, not my thighs. I'm going to use my arms just move my legs. Okay. While I hold my toes up and bend my ankle. Okay. So this is stage 1. Okay. It's an ankle bend. Stage 2, I only go so far forward as I can and keep my belly and rib cage alignment. Okay. So I can't straighten my legs right now. Stage 3 is still holding the toes, but letting my legs go straight, or the strap, whichever you got. Okay, stage 4 is like ragdoll. Okay, so stage 1, stage 2, belly and rib cage still touching. Stage 3, legs straightening. Stage 4, ragdoll. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let's do it. And look, it's okay if you don't get it perfect. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to be able to answer many questions along this flow. If I see something, we'll talk about it later. Okay. All right, so bring your feet up by your stack. You're going to use your hands on top of your knees to lift and lengthen your torso towards your knees. I use my hands to kind of hold my legs so I can come down and get my toes. Now at this point, you can bring your toes forward a little bit. Okay, get your anywhere from fingertips all the way up to your wrist underneath your feet. Okay, do you need a strap, Dawn?
Yeah, I can't actually get my chest onto my knees, and my other knee is can't go back all the way, so they're not
Okay, yep.
together.
Yep, you're gonna go as far as the angles of your, right, but you go get a tie,
Okay,
belt.
and you guys go ahead. I'll catch up.
No, we're gonna wait for you because this is a flow. We need to all go through together. Hold it. Don't lift your toes quite yet, Bob. But if you could bring your heels back to your buttocks more, Bob, and if that means you need a strap, then you should get a strap too. There you go.
Yeah, I can't grip a strap with my left hand today.
Oh, okay. So if you want to do alt leg as an alternative, because we are using the hands and arms.
Okay.
So I would do,
I can use 2 fingers. I'm gonna try.
All right, it's probably not gonna be quite as effective, but you can try it. Okay. So the strap goes underneath the ball joints. Okay. And you're gonna end up holding close down. All right, so let's go start from the top with everyone. Use your arms to lift and lengthen your torso towards your knees. Hold your legs and let one hand go and slide the fingertip up to the wrist underneath your foot. And same with the other arm now. If you need to like bring your heels a little further away, you can, but not like, it would only be like 2 or 3 inches, okay? All right, your head goes down. Inhale, exhale, you're gonna pull your ankles up. You're using your arms to create that ankle bend. Or for some people, it might be more of a toe bend. Okay, you're using your arms to keep your knees together. That looks like it's working, Dawn. Okay. Use your arms to pull, don't use your toes to pull up. You're gonna use your hands and arms to pull up. Okay, or the strap if you're holding a strap. About 20 more seconds here. Okay, so now start to scoot your heels forward. You're still holding your feet, creating the ankle bend with your arms. Let your legs go as far forward as they can, but only so far as you keep this belly and rib cage alignment. Keep breathing, nice, gentle, easy breathing, noticing what you notice inside of your body. Okay, now you can straighten your legs, which means your torso is going to come up a bit. Still hold your toes or the straps. The ankles are still bent. You might be holding on more to your toes at this point, though. And then the last stage, you let go of your toes. You let your arms hang down. The elbows are approximately under the shoulders. Your palms are up. And since we were just in ragdoll, you might notice quite a difference here in the angles you're in ragdoll. Okay, so to come out, turn your palms over, start pressing up. You can bring your hands to your thighs. And here you're gonna roll slowly, but and stack each vertebrae, bringing your head up last, but it's a slow roll. Okay, it's not as exaggerated as ragdoll. Okay, but do make sure you bring your neck and head up last. How was that? Any feedback? Any questions?
Couldn't get my legs out as far as you got yours out.
Okay, yeah, no comparison between us ever on anything, right? Everybody's used their body to a different degree in a different way and different patterns, and there's no basis for I mean, I hear you. I'm not trying to like put anything on you, but there really is no basis for comparison. We do see people maybe aspire to something, but it's incomparable. How we use our bodies.
With
Cool.
my tight hips, this is actually a great way for me to do this exercise. I've never been able to do this very well. Tight hips. So that's probably the best I've ever done that.
Awesome. And hey, your stack that your buttock's on is more of a Z stack. I'm seeing that now. It's a little narrow, and that feedback to the body says hold. He might topple, right? We really want this set up. Let's get some blankets ordered for you, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, that's coming right up.
Okay, cool beans. And what were you gonna say, Dawn?
Nothing, nothing. Yeah,
Let's
my
move.
legs are just incongruent right now. So,
Yeah, super common also. Yeah, let's come on our back and do cross knee pose. So we're gonna take the changes because we stayed longer in that first stage. It's 4 stages. It's called stretch of the west side of the body. Again, I don't know what that means. I never learned in class, like, why did they call it that? There's a story, but I think it was too long and they didn't want to get into it either. So anyway, we stayed in that first stage for a minute, and that was a tailbone release, which is why you did better, Bob. Okay. And so now we want to take the changes into the sacrum. Just have a head support. Come on to your, oh, wait a minute. No. Sorry, I changed the lesson plan so we can accommodate you, Bob. We're doing half frog. We're gonna go half frog into Dhanu leg. So have your belly support. So these flats, we're gonna make between 2 to 4 flats under our belly, depending what you need. Okay, so you can do the just all in one direction, or you can have the T version of a belly platform. Where there's one, like maybe you need something a little more for your head, right? You can have the bottom one going the length of your body and the other two the perpendicular to your body. Okay, lay your belly. Oh, and have your roll nearby, please. On the right side. So that when you come up from your belly, you can just grab it easily. All right, so come down onto your belly. You must make sure that the hip crease is cascading off the bottom. So where the angles change, the belly is flat on the platform and then the hip starts to bend. Right at that bend is where you want to come off of the blanket so that your legs can come down, okay? Very important. It's not uncommon for me to see people really wonky with that. Okay, and remember, you must have at least 2 blankets, not just one. Okay, so we're going to do leg longer first to prepare. And all that does is create some space in the low spine for what we're getting ready to do, okay? So tuck the toes of one leg under, press the toes into the floor. This is 2 separate movements. Down into the floor first, then press your heel away from you. Use your toes to pivot your leg down next to your other leg. Untuck your toes. Okay, you can feel the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all connected, so you probably feel the difference from your leg through your pelvis up through your torso even. Maybe even your head, if you're really sensitive. All right, so do the other side. So tuck the toes, the other leg under. Take a moment to get this movement down. So press into the floor first. Then press your heel away from you. Your knee is not straightening and locking out, should I say. Might straighten a little bit, but not locking out. So then pivot your toes to bring your knee down next to your other knee. Untuck your toes, and you probably feel a little more even. Okay, so reach down for the lower right-hand side of your blanket. Okay, pull that up towards your hip crease. Slide your right knee up out to the side. That holds the blankets, right? You can let that go. Bring your arm down. So your knee bone, wrist bone. Your palm faces up as well. Slide your bent knee so your foot comes forward and you create this 90-degree angle at your knee joint. Okay. And then tuck the toes of your extended long leg under. Press the toes into the floor. Pivot your whole leg in towards midline. Lower the toes down again. And here you are in half frog. This is reliable release for the sacrum.
Is your head towards your knee?
Yeah, the bent knee. At this point, if you wanted to move your right side arm, like whatever side has the frog leg, if you wanted to move your hand up by your head, you could. Or you could just leave it where it is. Knee bone, wrist bone. Another breath here. And then you can straighten your leg down so both legs are straight behind you. Okay, turn your head to the other side. I mean, it's very likely here that you're going to feel a contrast, right? So notice if you do feel like you have two different sides of your body. And not honor your body for its ability to change like that, right? All right, so make sure your head's to the left. You're going to pick up the lower left-hand corner of your blanket staff. You'll pull the blanket up the crease, slide your knee out to the side. You can let go of the blankets then and line up knee bone to wrist bone. Slide your foot of the frog leg, slide that foot forward so you create what you sense is a 90-degree angle of your knee joint. It's about, you should be able to look down and see your toes. If you don't see your toes or you see your whole shin, it's not quite right. Okay. Tuck the toes of your long leg under, press into the floor, pivot your whole leg towards midline of footprint, drop your toes down. This just gets your long leg aligned with your spine. Once you move to the left leg into half frog, that it left your other leg behind a little bit. And you can be noticing what's changing here. Like there's the way you use your body is often imbalanced. So within two sides of any given pose, you might feel a contrasting experience. Or maybe you're more balanced in this angle and you feel a similar experience. Just be with yourself and don't take that for granted. This is your opportunity to be in relationship with yourself and your body. This vessel that carries the soul, right? You can be in relationship with it. Another breath or two. Okay, and then slide your leg down side by side. Okay, this is where we're going to use the roll. So just press back. So you already have the setting of where your belly is on the platform, right? So just press back, bring the roll to the outside edge of your right ankle. So just this is we're talking at the beginning of class that what's the substitute for lunge when you have a wrist issue or arm or hand or something that's preventing you from doing lunge effectively. This is it. So you can if you end up remembering this pose and you want you're in that situation, and you can't do lunge at the moment, you can always substitute this pose, okay? So here it's really important, do not, always, whatever side leg we're working on, you want your head facing, your nose facing that way, please. Extremely important with this particular pose. So heads to the right, arms are by your side, reach up with your toes, pull the roll in until you feel the roll on the inside of the other leg, the other ankle, excuse me. Bring your knee back down where it was and extend your ankle over the crest of the roll. So that means that it's by the edge of the roll, okay? You don't want to be wide out on the roll. You want it as if your leg is straight behind you. So this pose is reliable for releasing the spine through the waist, just like lunge. In a different way, it's a lunge substitute. It's not a lunge. It has a different effect in and through the body, but it does target the same area of the spine. Couple more breaths here. Okay, and then you can press the roll out, replace your foot down on the floor and feel this. Feel what's different and changed. One side of one leg is much longer, it feels like, and softer. I noticed that I'm on top of my knee on the right side. On the left side, I'm rolled out of that position. Whatever it is for you, let yourself become aware of it by being present to it. And then press back. We're going to bring the roll to the other side. Turn your head to the left. Make sure your legs are cascading off the bottom. Make sure your neck and head is cascading off the top of your platform. Okay, now reach up with your left foot and slide that roll in until it reaches the inside of your opposite ankle. You'll bring your knee back down where it was and let your ankle go over the crest of the roll. And look, sometimes your experience isn't just a physical one. Sometimes poses will elicit an emotional response. So please do allow yourself to notice that if it's coming up for you. Just be present to what is, without changing it or wanting to change it. Just notice it. It's really just language speaking to you. And you wouldn't try to change someone's words coming out of their mouth, right? You would just listen. Couple more breaths here. And then slide that roll out, replace your foot down, notice what you notice. And then roll over on your side, just off or on the blankets, doesn't matter. But we've been on our belly for a moment. We don't just pop up, okay? We're gonna be doing gentle transitions here. Oh. Okay, and then use your hands and arms to bring your torso up. Okay, so let's build our Shavasana stack. So the first tailbone pose that we did, the stretch of the west side of the body, right? It's reliable for a tailbone release, but it's not as reliable as alternate leg. So whenever I put that in our sequence, I'm always going to make sure that I come back and get like one of the most reliable tailbone releases. So in case we didn't quite get it on the first round, we do now. Okay. And we're going to go from alt leg into JP. So make sure you have room for your legs to come down the other side, on the sides. So bring your knees up to your chest, hold both legs. Again, we want the thighs side by side, so it's not a splaying of the legs wide. It's how far can you bring your knees towards your chest and keep the thighs together. Okay. Hold both knees for a couple of breaths. Just let the body acclimate here. And then let's roll to the right. When you land, you're going to come into knee bone, wrist bone alignment. Bring your upper palm to the side of your waist and let your elbow and shoulder soften behind you. You can even tuck your fingers into your waistband to hold your hands. And make sure your knees are at a 90-degree angle. There's a lot of similarities, right, to this pose, to half frog in a sense, right? The 90-degree angle at your knee joints and knee bone, wrist bone alignment. There's some overlap here. There's a gentleness to this pose, right? It's a quieting kind of a pose. Which is why it's nice if you can't fall asleep to go back and forth in bed and do this if you can. Then turn your head to center. And then bring those knees up to center. Pause for a couple of breaths. And then roll to the other side. And once you land, letting go. Knee bone, wrist bone again. And your upper palm on the side of your waist. Fingers overlapping onto the belly or tucked into the waistband. And make sure your knees are at a 90-degree angle. Surrendering it's a different kind of surrender from ragdoll, right? surrendering forward and backward can feel quite different, you know, so we're letting that elbow and shoulder surrender back and down behind you. It requires a little trust. Let the body do that. The eyes always want to see where we're going to keep us safe. So if we trust that the elbow and shoulder is going to be okay, it will often even surrender back a little more for us over time. Especially as we're in the pose longer and the releases start carrying all the way up through the rib cage. The changes in the rib cage translate out to the arm and shoulder. Because it's all connected, right? And then turn your head up. Bring your knees up. Hold both legs. Let's get a leg in now. So bring both hands over to your right leg. Extend your left leg over the support. Both knees really ultimately end up being underneath the same side ear. So right knee, right ear, left knee, left ear. Use your arms to create that angle for your right leg. And if your left knee went wide over the stack, you can lift it up and bring it in towards midline again. Look, we don't need our shoulders, so it's often the shoulders will be up while we're holding our leg, but let your shoulders rest back. Couple more breaths here. And then bring your left leg up, hold both knees, and even look down. Maybe your knees are in different positions now because you released one side so thoroughly. Okay, maybe you sense something changed inside of you. Have that, allow yourself to have that glorious relationship, not just the outside, but inside as well. Okay, and then extend your leg over the stack, the right leg going over this time. Left leg, if you didn't move your knee anywhere, your knee is still lined up underneath the left side ear. Support your knee and leg, whether it's on top of the knee, behind the knee, even pant legs. If it's super challenging to be on top or behind, you can always hold the pant leg. And look, that's for all of us too. I think all of us can, live right now, can hold the knee, but sometimes something happens. Like Bob, you hurt his hand. We need a workaround, right? So know that you can always hold the pant leg to keep the leg in alignment. Make it work for you. Soften the leg down to the front of the belly as well and into the hip crease. Imagine that, even if you're not sure how that will happen right now, and imagine it. Use the power of your mind to create a result and allow the pose to be deeper because of it. Okay, so bring your leg up, hold both legs, roll over to your side. Okay, so let's do another lunge. So Bob, you can do another Dhanu leg. Or we haven't done a lunge today. Let's do a lunge and do the substitute if you need it, right? All right, so getting your blocks. Okay, we're gonna square off, knees under hips approximately, wrists under shoulders. You'll lean over to your left side, bring your right foot forward and through. Okay. Press into your left hand to make some space, or even lift your block if you need to. Make some space to have your fingers find your belly button. Left hand into your belly button, down into the left an inch. You'll claw through with your hand through the belly tissue towards the spine, and then pull your belly sideways on your thigh. Slide your fingers up so that your your palm rest on your front low ribs. Leave your hips back, press into the ribs, lift and lengthen towards your toes. Lower your hand, lower your head. And if your hip is up in the air, lower your hip. See if you can get your hips to feel even. Then shift forward. Move your hands and blocks. Look, if your belly and rib cage slid off your belly, go back and realign it and don't go as far. Okay? Otherwise, get your wrist and underneath your shoulders, then scooch your foot to get your ankle under your knee. Lean into your bones, lean into your body. Let your bones support you, my beautiful ones. Use them for what they were designed to do, right? Be the structure that supports you. Let the muscles do their job. Move you. Okay? That's all we've got mixed up. Okay, and then press back. And if you're in Dhanu Leg, you can let your foot come off the roll. Make sure you turn your head to the other side. Okay. You're using the blocks for lunge. Just lean over to your right hand. Bring your left foot forward and through. Lean into that left hand completely, solidly before you try to move this belly and rib cage, okay? Even lift your block up if you need to. Make space. Bring the right hand into the low right belly. Pull the belly sideways on the thigh. Bring your palm underneath your chest until it rests on your front low ribs. Press into the ribs. Lift and lengthen toward your knee. Lower your hand, lower the block if you need to. Most importantly, lower your head. Your head is tractioning your spine right now, okay, as is the back leg. So go forward slowly. Make sure the belly and rib cage doesn't slide off. If it feels like it wants to, don't go into that zone. You'll go into your tension pattern and perpetuate it. All right, so only go so far as you can maintain the alignments. Hands and blocks go forward till your wrists are under your shoulders. Then scooch your foot, get your ankle under your knee. Lean into your bones. Even if you're in Dhanu like Bob, you can let your bones lean into the floor, right? Let yourself rest and stop holding yourself up and away from things. Lean in. Lean into your body, lean into life. That's what you're here for. Take advantage of this opportunity of this grand life. This pose opportunity for release. And then press back. Okay, we're gonna set up for ragdoll. Let's see what's changed, okay? So you're gonna create 3 folds. Excuse me, did I say that right? Yeah, 3 folds. right? It's just a bifold, right? That'll give you more space for your body. So it doesn't feel like it's teetering. It is not, look, there's a very big difference between a Z and a fold, right? It's much wider. That's part of like why I said you guys don't get a 3-inch block, get a 4-inch block. Same kind of principle there. The body
My
wants,
blankets are still really stiff.
yeah.
I haven't washed them yet.
You could, I was going to say, you could wash them. I would not put them in the dryer. They say that you can put them in the dryer, but every once in a while, one of them shrinks and that presents an issue.
Yeah. Do you think I just need 2 instead of 3?
It, well, how we know is we test it in our body. So come sit on it. See what 2 feels like with your legs out in front.
Okay.
If you feel, if it's obvious, if you're slumping, you need the 3rd one. If you also feel like you're holding yourself up, then you need it also. Okay.
It's actually more comfortable.
Okay, there you go. You remember, try 3 really quick because that was like an hour ago. Just test it real quick. Put a 3rd one under, and everyone can do this if you want. You can try 2 real quick and see if it feels the same as 3. Yeah, if you feel like,
This feels high and a little unstable.
okay, go back down to 2.
Okay.
And yeah, I would suggest, the more you use the blankets and fold them and unfold them, the more they get worked in, right?
Yeah.
Washing helps.
Yeah. And I'm shorter. So
Well, it's more about spinal tension than the height of your stature, to be honest. Okay.
right, but what I'm saying is this is easier on my spine because
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the way my legs are.
Yeah, it's a very different response though, right, than shorter. So, okay, guys. So let your feet be out straight out in front, knees straight. Knees should just dip down with gravity, right? If you sit too far back, your knees tend to bend. Okay. So palms up in your lap. We're just bending from the neck first, okay? So inhale, exhale, and let your head tip down. And we do stay here for 2 or 3 breaths just to let the body get comfortable with the fact that the head's going in this direction, right? There's a natural tendency for protection at this point. So we let the body regulate. And then the next breath, you can start to let your shoulders slump over. Just like 2 or 3 vertebrae at a time, but each out breath that you have, a couple, 2, 3 more vertebrae round over. And hey, one of the places I notice changes is like, wow, instead of chunking over, I can feel the vertebrae rounding more now. Maybe you can too. Couple more. Each breath, you're rounding over through the ribs. And you're probably going to get to a point where you can't round over anymore unless you tip from the hips. So on an exhale, you can tip forward at your hips. Keep breathing. You can be intense, especially if it's your first round. Okay, palms up, either on your lap or on the floor, you choose. Notice any contrast, what's really alive for you inside the pose right now. What can you let go of that you're holding? Like I noticed my whole left leg was holding, and once I let that go, I was able to round over more. Well, these holding patterns, they really show up, especially in this pose.
My left leg is splaying out completely because it doesn't flex.
Okay, that's just a pattern. It's just there's tension there that's splaying that. Okay, it's okay. Notice it. That's where we are right now.
Just let it splay.
You let it splay. Use
Okay.
your Your hands to your thighs. Thank you for asking. So when you tip up, go slow. This is deliberately slow. You're just tipping, your head's still down. You're tipping the sacrum back up. And of course, it's attached to some lumbar vertebrae. So your vertebrae start stacking on top of the sacrum.
Oh,
One and then the next, but be mindful. Let your arms do the work. Let everything else soften. The arms have got this. It is a deliberate, slow stacking. The head is hanging down until you get your shoulders up. And then you start stacking one vertebrae of your neck on top of the next, on top of the next, on top of the next. Okay, so what was different this time?
Smoother, less chunking.
Yes. Yeah, nice. Tension is such a chunker, isn't it? It's like,
Sure.
sweet.
I'm very tight on my left side. Very tight. And actually, when we were doing frog, the whole upper from my shoulder blade up just felt so tight.
Yeah.
And it just felt bigger than the right side. The right side was relaxed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's really good awareness because this is tight. That's why it's not going down.
Yeah, in fact, it's not
First
only
time I
going down,
did ragdoll, it was painful.
it's so tight that it's rolling it, it's pivoting it out.
Yes,
And that's common. But like to notice the action, like you're walking, it's showing up in everything you're doing.
right.
Not aware of it yet, right? Well, now you are, but you might start noticing when you walk, like this foot's going this way and this, and you're walking like this, toes pivoting out, right?
Yeah. My chiropractor showed me how my hips were and how my body was standing. And I get to be in alignment.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
Yes, that's why we're here.
Any other quick shares before we complete today?
Yeah, going down to 2 blankets was more comfortable for me, is more comfortable for me.
Okay.
And I am sitting on the backs of my heels now, the underside of my feet, and wow, am I feeling my sits bones.
Awesome.
It's like they're new arrivals.
I know, it's like, hello, body. Where have you been?
Woohoo!
Nice, great job. So I just want to iterate here. When we change the blanket heights to adjust for our body type in the moment, because we're changing all the time based on how we're continuing to use or not use our body. It's not necessarily that I'm asking you to look for comfort. Just want to reiterate that, okay? So I'm asking you, when you sit on the stack, do you find yourself slumping or do you find yourself holding yourself up? If you are, it's more effective to have the higher height.
Okay.
That can feel like comfort, but it may not. It may feel less comfortable. And we're not really looking for comfort. We're looking for effective angles for support to create release. Okay, so just keep that in mind as you practice going forward.
Okay.
Translated your comfort as being good per se, but it might not. So double check, please. Okay.
So the feeling we're looking for is for the uprightness in our upper body.
We want to be comfortably upright. I
Right.
don't know, if you look at my body right now, I have some support under my sit bone. Excuse me, not my sit bone, under my sacrum. So my body can literally lean back in that. But watch what happens when I take this out. Watch my torso in particular.
Oh, yeah.
I just collapsed.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. And the opposite is, oh, like something in your mind goes, like, if we have a perfectionist mindset, we're not going to be caught dead like this.
Right.
You're gonna, oh, I have great posture. Look at me sitting up straight now. And watch, so this is gonna be a little more subtle, but put this in, watch my shoulders. It's subtle, but my body goes right into my bones down in my pelvis.
Yeah.
I'm not holding this. I don't feel things here and here and here holding me up. That perfectionism was, I wanted to look good. I wanted to do it right. So I was the person who tended to like hold myself up. Now I know what it feels like to settle in my bones, to have comfort through support.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had some wonkiness at the beginning. So if you can stay a little bit and do one more twist and a little Shavasana, maybe another 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to invite you to stay on. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have to go, understand.
I need to scoot.
Okay. Much
Thank
love.
you, here.
Bye-bye. Love you. And look, I'll see you next Wednesday. Just a reminder, Wednesday, EST time, 8 to 9 p.m. Jennifer and I showed up. It was super fun and great to be in community doing our home practice. Okay, so I want to make sure everyone hears that before we scoot off. Okay,
8 to 9 a.m., right?
8 to 9 a.m. EST. And I put the link in the group.
Okay.
So thank you, Sharon, for creating that link for us. Appreciate that. All right, come on down. Price is Right. Come on down. I can tell I grew up with that with my dad. I always think that when I say to you guys, come on down. That's the way of saying, get in Shavasana. But this is a place, I'll just remind you, where you might see some people sometimes not have blocks under their feet. I'm one of them. You may be someone I've coached one-on-one about this. So if you see people without blocks, no, it's probably because I told them it'd be better for them not to have it right now. That doesn't mean it's not for you. If I haven't told you that, then you need blocks, okay? It's better for you. Or, as I should say, more effective. All right, so bring your knees up to your chest. We're gonna do a twist to the left. Let's do this though. You know how we normally have the right knee crossed in front of the left? I'm gonna have you go the opposite way. If that's too challenging right now, Dawn, because we've been doing it a little bit in class here and there, just stay where you are, or anyone else. You can just stay
So
here.
what leg are you putting?
So I
The
went to,
bottom leg on top?
yeah, which
Okay.
might be your foot's way in the air. Some people will have this, and then you can always take a blanket or roll or something and put it underneath your foot like that.
Yeah, this is fine. Okay.
But if you can, oh, it's getting warm in this room. Hold on one second. It's gonna start sweating. If you can, hook your foot behind the other foot. Do that.
Can't.
Yeah, no worries. Just give that upper foot some support. It'll soften more.
That's just hanging out.
All right, uncross, stack your thighs. We're just playing with this angle a little bit more lately. Seeing what your body can and can't do. What it can do easily or not. All right, so turn your head to the other side. Bring your knees up. Oh, sorry. Bring your head up, bring your knees up. Hold your knees. Lay down into Shavasana. Sorry, jeez, JP. Lay down into JP. Knee bone, wrist bone. Just start at the traditional angle for a few seconds first. And you can stay here. We're just wading into some new waters, that's all. Okay, and if you can, take your lower knee and cross it on top of your upper knee. And then if your foot can only stay, it only works for you with your foot way up in the air, that's fine. So, but see if you can put something under, to support. Grab a blanket and let it meet your ankle where it's at. If not, if you can hook your one foot behind the other, then do that. But soften, whatever angle you're in, soften into that space. And then unhook your foot and come back to the traditional angle. And turn your head to center. And knees, of course, come up to center. And let yourself rest back in Shavasana again. And, it's a really wonderful space to notice how your back lays into the floor before you might settle into a relaxed space in your mind, right? So notice, wow, do I feel longer? Is more of the back of my body in connection with the floor? Sometimes I feel discomfort along my SI joint laying in Shavasana at first, but then the second time I don't. So just bring your awareness to your toes, feet, up in and through your ankles, the length of both legs, into your hips and hip joints. Noticing the space between them, the whole pelvis, your belly, across your whole chest, outside, inside. And then drawing the awareness down your arms into your hands. Notice your fingers and thumbs, hands and wrists. Down the whole back of your body. Your shoulders, upper back, mid back, lower back, hips and buttocks, sacrum and tailbone. And noticing up through your torso and shoulders, through your neck, face and head. Outside, inside, all at the same time. Being aware of your whole body, or being aware of awareness itself. Follow your awareness into its source. Rest in that. And then wiggle your toes and feet. Wiggle and stretch your fingers and hands. Roll your neck and head from side to side. Stretch and move in any way you like. And when you're ready, you're gonna bring your knees up, roll over to your side, and press up. Here we are, using our hands again and arms to create a movement for the torso, so the spine's not working constantly.
Oh, beautiful. So
Uh,
nice to be back.
nice to have you back.
Thank you.
Feel our practice in Anjali Mudra, palms together in front of your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.
Good class. Good class.
Great. Thank you very much. That was good.
You're welcome.
That
Glad to
was
see
really
you guys
good.
again too, Bob. We were all moving and shifting and doing things, in and out and about making it work and videos and recording and live and different days. But it's good to be able to be flexible like that because we get old when it's the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
Body needs some other stimulus, different ways, right, to stay ready, alert, and alive. So
This is the first time I felt so much movement in frog.
oh,
But the bones up in my skull were just going. It was good.
Is it
Getting in
direct-
alignment. Huh?
is a direct connection, just a reminder, direct connection of sacrum and bones of the head. So the fact that you could feel that and connect into that was really, really awesome.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was happening all day. What, Bob?
So long. Gotta go.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.